Are you finding it hard to find time to dedicate to your creative projects, to work on your artwork? Does it seem like something's always coming up or getting in the way? Well, ask yourself, who's to blame for that? Greetings everyone, welcome to the underground lair where we bring our creations to life. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. I'm a professional illustrator, designer, and mad creator. And I'm somebody I put a lot of stuff out in the world, a lot of projects and things like that, and I feel like I've been pretty productive, but there's always been things that, that tend to slow me down, and I think this is the case with a lot of people. It's just things get in the way. You have busy schedules, you have other things going on, and you don't always have time for your artwork or whatever the case is. Recently, I've been leaning into this idea of, and it's kind of a struggle. I'll put that right out front first, of this idea of 100% responsibility. Taking 100% responsibility for everything. Everything it's all on you, and that's a difficult concept for a lot of people to wrap their head around because, it seems like there are a lot of other things that come up. It's like, I didn't have anything to do with that. How is that my responsibility? But I want to talk about how taking 100% responsibility is going to help you get projects done, work on your art, and hopefully have time for the other things in your life as well. You'll see how that kind of comes into play once you start to really think about it. So what is 100% responsibility? So let me frame it like this. So if you are struggling with productivity, getting artwork done, I assume if you're watching this, you're an artist, or finding time to spend on your art, and you ask yourself, why is that? Now, be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, why can't I get these things done? Is it because you don't have enough time? Maybe you don't have the proper tools. Maybe you're just not motivated. That inspiration hasn't hit. Maybe something or someone is demanding your attention. These are all very, very common excuses to why we can't produce work or get to work on our creative projects. These are all things that seem to get in the way, and these are all excuses, and some of them can be valid. Everyone has things that get in the way of their dreams, some more than others. I mean, this idea of taking 100% responsibility isn't to say that you don't have obligations and you don't have things that are important in your life that you don't need to attend to, or other things, whether mental health or whatever. Everyone has struggles and things like that, and I'm not trying to diminish any of that by saying this. But regardless of all this, if you want to be productive and if you want to produce art and you want to whether it's a career or whether it's a hobby or whatever your goal is with your artwork, if you find you're not able to do that, despite everything else going on in your life, seriously think about this idea of 100% responsibility. And this mindset, it allows you to identify areas so you can improve on them and take the necessary steps to make things happen. Taking 100% responsibility, it doesn't mean that you're to blame for everything. First of all, you got to get that out of your head. We're not talking about blame. We want to even get that word out of our vocabulary right now when we're thinking about blame, because we tend to do that all the time. We tend to blame others. We can blame ourselves. We can blame. We're constantly blaming situations for the reasons why we're not productive. We find excuses to blame others, and what that does when we find excuses is it shifts the focus away from ourselves and onto external factors, and we don't have any control over those external factors. If everything is somebody else's responsibility or somebody else is to blame, then it's out of our control. We have no control. We're kind of out of the game. We don't have any. There's nothing we can do, and that's why you don't want to be in that place. On the flip side, if you're taking 100% responsibility, it means that you have some control over your situation, and you're not just living in this victim mindset. And again, when I say victim, it's a little hard for people to wrap their head around, because there are people that have been victims, like serious victims of situations and everything. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But even if you are a victim of something, do you want to stay a victim, or do you want to move past that? And if you take responsibility, even if it's, technically if it's something that isn't your fault, taking that responsibility is going to help you get past that situation and be in control. And this isn't easy. This is something I struggle with all the time, and I have to remind myself, no, I need to take responsibility for this, because it's so easy when something comes up. I'm sorry, I was late for work. The traffic was bad or whatever. Well, think about it. Well, what if I would have left earlier? What if I would have anticipated that? There's so many different factors, and if I'm just shifting the blame away from myself and not learning from that, maybe next time I do leave for work a little earlier. Whatever the case is, when I start taking responsibility, then I put myself in control, and I can figure out ways to better my situation. Because we all do it. I mean, it's human nature to blame other people for your problems, and I do it all the time. But I've come to the point where I recognize that doesn't help me. That doesn't serve me at all. Just to blame other people, or it's not my fault, or shift things away from me. It's you've got to take responsibility. And when you do that, you'll see the proof. You'll see the proof happen. You'll see you will be more productive. You will be able to take more control of your life when you stop blaming outside influences and things like that on whatever's holding you back from whatever you want to do. Now, it can be difficult to do this because you see so much evidence of people blaming other people for different things, whether it's at the workplace. That's not my job. That was this person's job, or whatever the case is. And you see it. I mean, you see it all the time. People put out these signals that just scream, "I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible." So a good example of this is, and tell me if you've ever had this situation, if this is familiar to you. You're driving down the road, and there's this big truck ahead of you. It's one of these big trucks, and there's this. It's kind of an open, like kind of semi thing with an open back, and there's maybe a tarp on the top of it, and it's flipping around, and there's like gravel and everything shooting out of there, flying past the cars and everything. And it's like, and you look in the back of this truck, and there's a sign that says "Not responsible for broken windshields." Okay, really? I mean that's the whole. I mean, it's like how do you say that? I mean, I understand how you say it. I mean, it's maybe it's company policy. This company, they probably had to replace windshields, and so they just put up a sign that says, "We're not responsible for that." But really, are you? Just because you say you're not responsible for something, it doesn't mean that you aren't, or that you can just shift your responsibility away to something else. You've got to take responsibility. I mean, I could put a sign on the back of my car that says, "Not responsible for running red lights and plowing into other vehicles." Is that going to stand up in court? Does that mean that I'm not going to be, held liable if I'm wrecking into people? Just because you put a sign up that says you're not responsible, it doesn't mean you are. I mean, you're kidding yourself if you are. And the same thing with this big truck. Sure, they can say that, and maybe your windshield gets hit. You call it this company, call the number on the back of the thing, and they say, "Sorry, our policy, you should have read the sign, we're not responsible." Okay, that may be their policy, but guess what? You could still take that person to court, and you could probably win if you wanted to. Just throwing out that you're not responsible, it doesn't hold up, and it's not doing you any good. Here's the thing. Once you start to take responsibility, you take control of your life, your creativity, your productivity. When the onus is on you and not others, you're going to begin to see results. You're going to begin to find that, maybe I can set a little time aside to work on this, little by little, or whatever the case is. Or maybe I can list others to kind of help me take some of that burden if there's a bunch of other stuff going on. If it's something you really want to do, you can make it happen. But you can't make it happen if it's out of your control. If it's just like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. It's these things keep coming up in my life, and I just don't have time to work on that. So seriously, I want you to seriously think about this and think about putting it into practice. And just whenever you can, remember, if a situation comes up, think, okay, am I taking responsibility for that? And if you do this enough, and if you start to, you're going to start to see things happen. Trust me, believe me. I see it in my own life all the time, and I still struggle with blaming and trying to put things off on other situations or other circumstances. But when I really sit down and start taking responsibility, it's like a game changer, and it's a totally different, I produce totally different results. So start doing this, and you're going to find that you're going to manage your time better. You're going to establish boundaries and define expectations of others. You're going to become more productive, and hence you're going to achieve your goals. So just do me a favor, try it out, see how it works for you, and start to recognize that taking responsibility, it puts you in control and not just putting things off onto others and other things that you have no control over, and hence, what can I do? You don't want to be like that. So anyway, hopefully this helps you out, and it's not just in your creative career. Anywhere in life, once you start taking responsibility, you're going to find things happen, and you're going to lead a much better life. So try it out. Trust me, it works. I'll talk to you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.